These are Malaysian trumpet snails. They come out all over the place. They're all over the glass. They're all in amongst the wood. They're all in amongst the substrate. You really find a lot of them when you start looking for them. Maybe people don't like them, but they're there. In this type of a tank where I can't really keep a lot of different types of catfish because of the piranhas, and the piranhas produce such a lot amount of waste product, organic product, because they're predators, meat eaters, is these guys are actually beneficial, is that they're in the substrate during the daytime, and they turn over the substrate a little bit. However, something recently has changed that I could also use those for another advantage. This is Blister. And Blister, as you can see, it's got a nice full belly today. Blister is our new, that's his name, it's a boy, and it's our new Tetraodon pustulatus. And it is also known in the trade as the cross river puffer. For freshwater puffers, this is probably without question the most highly coveted species that is available. He's getting a little stressed out because there's a light shining on him that he doesn't like. So that black coloration by his dorsal pattern is, that's his fright pattern. But Blister eats a lot. And like the piranhas, it's a meat eater. It's a predator. But the one thing that sets him apart different from the piranhas is that instead of real sharp, razor sharp little teeth, pointy teeth meant for ripping, pufferfish have beaks. And they have two incredibly powerful dental plates. And those dental plates are designed for crushing, as the primary food source for these guys in the wild would be mollusks, primarily snails and clams and so forth. And those type of hard things also enable the animal to wear down its beak. But today, he's eaten a lot of snails today. I also gave him a treat of a couple of earthworms, some big night crawlers that I buy at the fishing store, and he loves those as well. This is what I've been doing for the bulk of the week since Blister arrived. As the snails emerge in the daytime, I harvest a few. They're easy to get. They pop right off the glass. They stay in my fingers. And I know that I'm definitely not going to be reducing the numbers. If anybody's ever had snails in their tank, they know that there's always going to be more than enough to replenish their loads. That just took a couple of minutes, and that's a great little snack for him. Whether he eats them now or later doesn't really matter. They'll stay in the tank alive as a food source for whenever he's ready. I doubt he's going to go and eat any right away. He ate 2 massive night crawlers and some snails this morning, so he looks pretty puffed up right now. But, oh, the temptation of food, maybe, oh, just maybe. But regardless, they're going to be there. He consumes them at his leisure. That gives me an idea. Oh, there he goes. Just leave me alone. See that hard beak at work? Crushing it down, spitting out the shells to get to the meat inside. Now there's all sorts of great products out there for doing exactly what we want to do. We want to catch some snails, but in larger volumes. It'd be ideal if I could just come down in the morning and pull this out of the tank and have it full of snails and then feed it to Blister. Now this thing here is a product by SERA. It's sold worldwide. It's out of Europe, out of Germany. Very, very well respected company. It's a great, great product. The one thing that's really, really cool about it is once the snails are trapped inside, they can't really get out. And it comes with bait. It comes with everything. So I got an idea. We're going to pit this against something else. Now this would be my tried and true. This is the easiest type of DIY snail trap. All we need is a basically disposable plastic bottle, recyclable. So I just went and picked one out of the recycling. I ripped the label off of it. To leave the cap on, we're not going to need the cap whatsoever. Basically, that is all we're going to need. And a razor knife. And we're going to cut it right about here. And then I'm going to show you. And that's honestly all there is to it. I've got the hole, the opening that the snails are going to go in. I have to put some bait in there, and we're going to let this sink down to the bottom, and we're just going to leave it overnight in the aquarium. So it's going to have bait. The snails are going to smell the bait. They're going to want to go inside, and then they're going to struggle to find the way out. Is it going to catch 100% of the snails that go in and venture in? Probably not. But for our purposes, I do not want to catch 100% of the snails. I want to leave some of the snails in there to do the job that they're doing, but I also want to catch some. Now, the idea or premise behind this is not new. This is an old fish trap from Thailand. This is how you get the fish out, and that's how the fish go in. The fish swim in, and they get past these little pieces of bamboo, and they can't find their way out. And this sits underwater with some sort of bait in it. And once the fish are in there, they're as good as trapped. Same sort of concept. So let's go and put the two together. We got my bottle trap, and we've got the trap from this brand, well-known, respected brand, SERA. And I wonder which one's going to catch more snails. Let's check it out. All right, we've completed the world's most complex snail trap, but after completing it, I'm judging it a little bit differently. Okay, now these little individual, I called them swords. Again, you could space them whatever you want depending on what you're wanting to catch. Now that you want to be able to let your snails go through, so we're talking some different things like larger apple snails, not larger, but something that can still fit through the opening that is this width. But ram's horn snails and so forth, and avoid fish from going through. But once they go through, they flip these, for what I've been calling eyelashes, and you can see they flip up, and then they fall back down right away because they're on like an axle. And they won't be able to go backwards. They're not flexible both ways. They're only flexible one direction. So it'll stop fish from going in, and then we can go ahead and bait it and put it in the tank. So overall, even though it was a little bit more complicated to build than, say, the bottle trap, I think it's a pretty slick little unit. Now let's put them in the tanks and put them to the test. So there they are, side by side. We're going to leave them overnight. See which one's the victor. Well, good morning, everyone. Today's the next day. It's about 7:30 in the morning. You can see Blister's lights have just come on. He's super excited to find out the results. Either way, no matter what, whichever trap is better, Blister's the one that wins. So he's pretty excited. Now, I never probably mentioned as to how he got his name as Blister. That might sound like he bit me or something and I got a blister. No, that's not really the case. But the name of the species is Tetraodon pustulatus, and the Latin for pustulatus is pustule, and pustule is basically similar to a blister, and it's basically the name's been given to the animal for the red spots that it gets all along its flanks, particularly on the males. So I thought Blister was a nice fitting name. Now let's go and take a peek at those snail traps and let's see the results. Which one do you guys think is be the most successful? Maybe now's a good time to maybe pause the video and go and leave me a comment. Let's take a peek. All right, you can see there's still lots and lots of snails. They're all over the glass of the tank still. The lights have just come on, which is why I came down at this time to make it work this way. But when we come over here, wow. The SERA snail trap has definitely earned its name. It is incredible how full that is. And then directly beside it, you can see a lot of them still trying to get in. And this trap has got a lot in it as well. But just visually, I would say that the SERA snail trap has trapped a lot more. And that might very well be just because once they go in, they can't get out because of those little eyelash type things. But let's take a peek. Let's pull it up. Well, the results are in, and if you really want to get rid of snails in your tank, the most efficient, without question, is definitely the SERA. The results for this, the homemade DIY one, which we made quick, was 48 snails, which is that's a great amount, and honestly, this might be the one I might use daily, because as I mentioned, I do not want to eradicate the snails. I want to keep them in there, but I want to be able to extract a small amount every day or every few days as a food source. But the SERA one, this one was 48. How many do you think this guy's was? This one here was 121. Not even close. And that might very well be to these eyelash type things. I don't know what else to call them. But once they go in, they can't go backwards. So clear winner was the SERA. Now let's go give Blister a treat. All right, Blister, here you go. Oh, he has no idea what to do. He's in heaven.